Hi there. My name is Laura Mack, and I'm here to tell you again, give you some more art advocacy. This is not making sense yet. Let's just delete that and I'll start over.
All right.
Hi there. Here's another art advocacy video, art ed advocacy. And as you may have known from watching some of our other videos, art education matters and our students should be getting it in Salem Keizer, just like kids in other parts of the country and other parts of the state. So today we're going to talk to a subject matter expert. This is Valerie Duncan, and she is a middle school art teacher here in Salem Keizer. I introduced you. Where do you teach?
Okay. I teach at Claggett Creek Middle School. I teach 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Okay. How long have you been teaching art?
I've been teaching art 12 years. This is my 3rd year at Claggett Creek.
Oh, where were you before?
Before, I lived in Arkansas, and I taught 9 years in Arkansas, but I taught kindergarten through 6th grade.
Oh, that's elementary school. So
That's
you taught
elementary
elementary school in Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Yes, there was a state mandate in Arkansas, I think maybe around 2005. It went into effect that they had to have an art teacher, certified art teacher on every school campus in the state.
Oh.
K through 12.
Wow, Arkansas.
Mm-hmm.
Arkansas has stricter art education laws than Oregon.
Yes.
I wonder if their graduation rates are higher. Anyway, that's aside from what we need to talk about. But so you've been teaching art for a lot of years. What have you noticed about the students that are coming to you in middle school based on national art standards that you used to teach in elementary school?
Basically, when I came to middle school, I was pretty shocked at their lack of knowledge of art and anything like that. I mean, maybe some of them could, knew how to mix colors, but that's kind of where it ended. And I'd ask, when I first got there, I'd ask them some questions about stuff, and they had no idea what I was talking about. I'm like, I was teaching this to starting in kindergarten in Arkansas. I was covering these concepts starting in kindergarten all the way through their whole, education. And these kids are starting, and these were 8th graders, 7th graders. They just had very little knowledge of art and why it's important even. Like, it's art. What does it matter? Like, they haven't been exposed to it in a way that the kids that I was teaching are exposed to it.
I wonder, does it make them nervous to be asked to do something creative?
Not nervous, but they just have a hard time with it. Like, they don't understand what I mean. Like, for an example, and this isn't being super creative, but just one of the elements and principles of art, I'd say, well, just make as many different kind of lines as you can. And the kids here, they had no idea what I meant. Like, different, like, zigzag lines, straight lines, thick lines, thin lines. They just hadn't thought about any of that. And that's a kindergarten project we taught. Right. Was something called a line lion. And you made the mane out of all these different kinds of lines. And so, yeah, they're quite a ways behind.
So do you have to get them up to their middle school art standards? Because Oregon does have art standards for middle schools.
Yeah, but you can't just jump in anywhere. Like, you have to start with the basics.
So you're basically teaching kindergarten through 5th grade before you can get...
Yeah, just basic art concepts, things like that, reasons for making art, elements and principles of design, things like that. And that's something in elementary school that you teach that stuff year after year, and then you grow their creativity and you grow their creative problem solving skills. And so with middle school kids here, I feel like they're coming in and they're just it's all new. And so I don't feel like they can be as creative as they might be if they had some more information or had that toolbox of elements and principles to use in art making. They're just kind of left behind on that. So you start where you start with them and get them as far as you can.
So even though Salem Keizer has art on the report cards for elementary schools and it's listed in the handbook, in your professional opinion, there's no way that classroom teachers in elementary schools can really teach to the art standards without
I wouldn't
their
think
own,
so.
because they're not credentialed to do that anyway.
Right. Yeah. I would be surprised if there were elementary school teachers that knew things like the elements and principles of art.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of have to study art to know about that.
Right.
So, I would say that, and there's just not enough time either, right? They don't have enough time in the day or the week to do that.
So when you, in Arkansas, how much art did kids get over the course of a year?
So each grade I saw each class I saw once a week. And so after a year, they'd have 36 classes.
Were they half-hour classes?
No, they were 50-minute classes.
Oh.
They were like a full 50-minute class.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like some of them even started in pre-K. But if they started in kindergarten and went through 6th grade, they would have had like 252 art classes taught by a certified art teacher covering standards for that whole time. That's a lot of art education that you can get in there. And every once in a while you get a kid here who's privileged enough to have taken art classes somewhere else, but there really aren't that many here. So that's how much they're missing in terms of by not having elementary art. You're missing that much exploration, creativity, creative problem solving, evaluating, analyzing, all of those higher order thinking skills that benefit them across the board, not just in art. Mm-hmm. It benefits their whole education. Right. It's to get a well-rounded education. That stuff, plays a big role. Mm-hmm. So I feel like they're kind of left behind, or just at a disadvantage for starting it so late. Right. Especially in some of those kids who really like art and maybe think about a career or something in that. They're already so far behind, and it's like that's just. To me, that's tragic because art is so in our culture. I mean, it's just embedded in our culture to the point where people don't know. They don't really stop and think about it, that their phone was designed by somebody. Your clothes are designed by somebody. Everything around you in this material world we have, that's designed by somebody. And so, our future designers are, not getting the education that they should get. Yeah, I think.
Well, hopefully with the student investment account, even if it doesn't end up happening this year with the first go round, mm-hmm. we have to go through this whole process again next year mm-hmm. with community meetings. And if the community actually knows that there's no art in our elementary schools, I think it will hopefully encourage people to speak up and mm-hmm. make it one of the first priorities mm-hmm. for elementary schools, to make elementary schools more well-rounded, but also to get the kids excited about school again.
Right. Yes. And the funny thing about elementary school that I've noticed teaching elementary school compared to middle school is almost every elementary kid, they love art. I rarely ran across someone who said, I don't like art. Mm-hmm. In all my 9 years of teaching that. I mean, kids love art. They want to do it. They want to learn. And we should provide that for them.
Great. Thanks for letting me interview you on camera.
You're welcome.
Okay.